على النبي هيلا هيلا صل على النبي يا مهون صل على.
So Thursday, I'm going to go to the first showing of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And it's going to be kind of bittersweet. Movies, you look forward to don't happen every day now. I mean, back in the 80s, summer was full of them. All right? Summer was absolutely full of them. And now, you've got a bunch of so-called blockbusters coming out in close succession within a few weeks of each other. And I think the only one that's going to make any money, maybe Barbie will, though I can't understand why, is Mission Impossible. And you couldn't get me to see that if you paid me $1 billion. I don't like Tom Cruise in anything but Top Gun. All right? I find him weird. I find him pretentious. And no, I mean, to me, people drool over him, but he's a weirdo. Okay? So we've got Indiana Jones coming out. They had the London premiere last night. Very low-key. This is really the only press that I was able to find on Twitter. There wasn't anything going on Twitter as far as showing speeches at the before the movie came out, before the movie showed. Here's everybody before they went in to see it. Frank Marshall, Mads Mikkelsen, Harry, Duckface, Mangold, John Rhys Davies, Bitchface, and some guy I don't know. I'm sure if somebody knows who he is, please put a comment in. Please tell me who that is. Anyway, very low-key. It looked to me that Kennedy went out and bought a black version of the outfit she's wearing here, and she wore it to the Los Angeles premiere, and she's wearing the white version of it here. Okay, actually dressing her age. Not that the gold and black ensemble at cons didn't make her look her age, or wasn't appropriate for her age. It just was a badly cut dress. But, and it's just really interesting to me that this premiere was so low-key. Usually London, because its connection to Lucasfilm, is a pretty big deal, and they kept it very low. I didn't see any royals attend it. Kate and Wills didn't show up. None of the other royals, maybe they did, but it was very low-key. Very interesting to me. No controversies, no humiliation, but again, no press. Probably because YouTube would go crazy with it if we got any wind of something that didn't look right. I mean, case in point, here's the faraway thing. On the 19th, at the premiere in Los Angeles, we've got no video like this. I could have some background info after today. I'm going to have to ask around. I do have some contact with actually a cast member of this movie. Nobody that you saw in the picture. Okay, so I'll have to ask because we'll see. But the story, there's no story to tell for the London premiere. No controversy, no whatever. It was just very low key. And again, I find it sad. I find it really, really, really kind of just not even bittersweet, just kind of there. And, it's hard for me to look at these three guys, Harrison Ford, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg, and not feel for them. All right? They let this woman wearing the black right there, she's wearing a white, in London, to absolutely trample everything they built with this movie and everything George built. You know, and, you know, I don't care what anyone says. I don't, you know, people who have Pablo Hidalgo for their contacts at Lucasfilm should really ask themselves, are they really prepared for the next step? Because it's happening. The Acolyte's not going to happen, okay? I'm sorry to break everybody's hearts. It's not. Why? There's no money for it. There was never any money for it, okay? The $5,000 payoff to Karen McCarthy, which caused the lawsuit, proves that. I don't need anything else, okay? The Rey movie's not happening. Why? Marvel is canceling movies, okay? Marvel is trying to cut back on waste, okay? Kathleen Kennedy wouldn't know how to cut back on a budget if God made her do it, okay? Those movies aren't going to happen. The Filoni movie, maybe, under a different leader. And really, I think the reason why it's so bittersweet is because, for me anyway, is we're not going to see Indiana Jones anymore, okay? And if we do, it's going to be probably a TV show, and he's going to be played by somebody else. Now, I would hope they would choose Anthony Gruber. Maybe the next iteration at Lucasfilm, the next era, will see the error in Kennedy's ways and get that kid, okay? I'm really just, it's sad. It's sad that these two people had to go in and destroy another franchise, okay? There was absolutely no reason for it. I mean, the idea of cheering for this movie to fail because of Kennedy is kind of shitty. But I discover every day more and more shitty human beings in the fandom, there you go, who, you know, on one end can say, blah, 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 they've lost $1 billion in movie box office. And then out of the other side of their mouth, the Rey movie's happening, 1,000%. Her. And it's like, no, it's not. Look, if Feige's told to cancel movies, then Kennedy's movies aren't happening. You can't have one without the other. That's just stupid, okay? And it's just, I mean, all of this is so sad. And it's Star Wars didn't have to have this happen to it. And Indiana Jones didn't have to have this happen to it. All right? And I think that's sad. Harrison Ford deserved better. John Rhys Davies deserves better. George's legacy was never protected. He's the one that deserved the most better. Okay? And you look at the video, Steven Spielberg publicly shaming, canceling, ghosting, and snubbing Kennedy and Marshall in Hollywood is just it's not even the opening salvo. It's Spielberg delivering judgment, okay? I don't know what next week is going to bring out. I don't know what Iger's going to do. But if he does what I think he's going to do, we're going to start to hear about movement to remove people from Lucasfilm. Okay. Look, they fired 75 executives that had stuff to do with Lightyear. Okay? Think about it. It's just one of those things where you're like, you got to stop and think about what the future is going to look like, and it's always in motion. But it's not in favor of Kennedy. And again, the sad thing about it is it cost the goodwill of the fans for Star Wars, for Willow, and now for Indiana Jones, for Kennedy to finally meet her comeuppance. And that's the sad part. There are good people, decent human beings out there, and that worked on this movie, and they deserved better. And like Obi-Wan said to Anakin, I say to Kathleen Kennedy, Carrie Beck, Pablo Hidalgo, Rain Roberts, you have done that yourself. You have done that yourselves. You have cost the franchises under your supervision everything because you're not creatives, you're ideologues, and you're activists, and you didn't belong at Lucasfilm. You belonged at the Human Rights Campaign, at some feminist organization, at Black Lives Matters, somewhere like that. But you did not belong at Lucasfilm, and the company suffered for it greatly. What was done to George's legacy is, in my opinion, cultural vandalism. It's, when I look at Kennedy and the people that work at Lucasfilm that supported her, they're cultural Taliban. They basically took pillars of the culture in the film industry, Indiana Jones, Willow, Star Wars, like the Taliban did the Bamyan Buddhas, and blew them up. We've got Pablo Hidalgo quoted, I think in 2013, before it was announced they were canceling the EU, that they were going to work on indoctrinating the kids. Indoctrinating into what? Okay, this is the sad thing. This is the legacy of Kathleen Kennedy. Destroy George Lucas's vision and legacy. Shit all over Harrison Ford, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, all over Mark Hamill, all over Carrie Fisher, all over Steven Spielberg, and proved once and for all that no, she can't do these things on her own because she's incompetent. And let me say something. Steven Spielberg knew it. Okay? He knew it. She got lucky with TFA, and that was it. That was it. Because people walked out of TFA, and I think they probably had a feeling that the next one was going to really suck because of what they did to Han Solo. And then look what they do to Mark Hamill in the Last Jedi. Okay? And you don't think that was dancing around in Steven Spielberg's lively mind as he mocked her openly? "10 years it took to ruin everything." That's all it took for her and her flying monkeys. That's the sad part. We're not going to get to see Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones anymore. And looking at the cultural wreckage that bitch has left in her wake. Because the next few weeks are going to be very interesting. This is Steph, signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.